You are listening to your New Puppies podcast, starting you and your dog off on the right paw. Here's your host, Debbie Salento.
Hello and welcome to episode 48 of Your New Puppies podcast. I'm Debbie, and today I'm going to talk about bringing home an older dog. So last week, I released some special episodes, which were a mini training on how to bring home your new puppy. But what if you've decided to adopt an older dog? And I'm not talking about a senior dog. I mean, I could be, but really any dog that's, say, 2 years and older. Because what happens is we went and adopted an older dog, maybe so we could skip all the puppy stuff. But when you first bring them home, the things that we need to do is very similar to bringing a new puppy home. And sometimes we try to skip over it and it causes some issues because our expectations might be a little different. We know that we've just brought home this new dog and in a safe environment and we're going to have the best life together. But the dog doesn't know that yet. We have to build our trust with them and keep them safe. And that's why you want to use a crate, use a pen, block them off to one room, keep their world small, and then you're going to grow it slowly. Just like you would with a puppy. I know, maybe this dog is already potty trained and they're older, so your expectations on their chewing and destroying stuff isn't there. But it's not even about that. It's about keeping them safe and building this trust. And you need to get to know this dog, and this dog needs to get to know you. One of the biggest things I hear about is, I don't want to use a crate because he was in a cage in his rescue. And I don't want to remind him of that. Where actually, that might be exactly why they're comfortable in their crate. Because they're used to being in a confined area. And hopefully, they felt safe there. But when it comes down to it, it's about their safety. Because especially with a rescue dog, it can take almost up to 3 months for them to start to relax and show their personality and become part of the family. I have lost count the number of times I've heard the story, we adopted this dog, brought him home, 3 days later he bolted out the front door and we couldn't find him for a week. And that's because we gave him too much freedom too soon. We gave him access to the front door and we didn't give the dog time to start to trust us and understand that this is a good place and bad's going to happen here. We're going to feed you, we're going to exercise you, and we are going to love the heck out of you. Now, on the flip side, once they start to relax and once they start to trust you, once they start to feel part of the family, that's when some of the bad habits and old habits can come into light. And the good news is that they're in a new home, they're with the new family, there's going to be new rules. So no matter what, you're going to be teaching them things, no matter where they came from or what their old habits are. So it is easier to teach new habits, and we're going to do it the same way just like with our puppies. We stop them from doing the bad behavior, hopefully preventing it, and directing them to what we want, teaching them what we want from them instead of just telling them to stop what they're doing. They don't know any better. The old saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, isn't true at all. The issue is, depending on how old the dog is, depending on how long a bad habit's been going on, it's harder to change. So if they have this habit that they've done 100 times and now you need to change it, well, you're going to have to direct them to the good behavior 200 times. So that's why the longer we let a habit go, the harder it is to change. Now, when we're rescuing an older dog, we have no idea. We don't know what their past was like. We don't know what they were taught, what they weren't taught. Now, that brings me to the other point I want to make is I want to caution you on getting hung up on their past and explaining away their behaviors. Now, there is something about our human psyche that we need to make up stories to explain why our dog is a certain way. Because even as much as I know not to do that, I still do it. I still make up stories about my girls, and they were a year old when I got them, and I've had them for 7 years. I still talk about what their life must have been like before me. So I get it. The important thing is to not get hung up on the story. So, for example, I had a client and it was actually a puppy. It was, the puppy was about 12 weeks old and was scared of traffic, of cars whenever they went by. And immediately the first thing she says, she's like, well, they found him on the side of the road in a box. So, whenever she hears a car go by, it must remind her of being in that box on the side of the road. Where actually, it is more likely that she's never seen a car before. Because if she was in a box on the side of the road and was 10 feet from cars whizzing by during her first few weeks, then she would have no fear of cars. It's more likely she's never seen this big, huge metal thing driving by at 30 miles an hour. And that's why she's scared of it. But when it comes down to it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who was right because we handled it the same way. We just need to give her a good association with these cars going by. And that is one of the most amazing things about dogs. It's one of the things that I just envy them so much. And something that we can learn from them is that they are experts at moving forward. No matter what's happened to them in the past, they can move forward with the proper conditioning. Okay, so that's it. I just wanted to come in here and talk about bringing an older dog home because for the same reasons why we adopt an older dog to skip over the puppiness is why sometimes we have the wrong expectations when we bring them home. Okay, so for those first few months, we almost want to treat them as if they were a puppy until they get to know us, until, they start to trust us and we get to know them and we start to trust them. And then we can enjoy the benefits of having an older dog. Like maybe their energy is less. Hopefully they're already potty trained. Maybe they're already even crate trained for us. And that is all I have for you today. If you are enjoying this podcast, you can rate and review it, and that helps other dog owners find the podcast. And if you'd like to continue training with me, you can head over to my website, playtimepaws.com, and find all the information you need on my in-person and online sessions, including my new puppy course. Thank you so much for listening. I'll be speaking with you soon. Bye for now.